It's Christmas Eve in snowy 1800s England, and in a small house at the edge of town, there lived a lonely 7-year-old boy named Isaac. Isaac was a sad child with not a friend to his name. And most children were spending the time with their families and eagerly looking forward to opening the presents that were placed with care beneath a beautiful decorated Christmas tree. Little Isaac spent this most holy of nights alone in his cold, dusty attic room. Isaac's parents were very poor, but his mother was a strict crow of a woman who stayed at home and schooled Isaac. His father would work long hours down at the London harbor to support his family, though a large portion of his earnings went towards purchasing and consuming copious amounts of alcohol at the end of his shift. And sometimes he would come home drunk after being thrown out of every bar in London and shout at his beloved wife. Occasionally, he would escalate to violence. He would beat her savagely. As it so happens, this particular night was one of those occasions. Isaac just remained quiet, quivering beneath his soiled bedsheets until the screaming and loud banging subsided. Once poor, frightened Isaac was finally able to fall asleep, he'd dream of what it would be like to have a friend to play with. So maybe he could laugh and be happy like the other children of London. Luckily for little Isaac, this Christmas Eve marked a big change. When his abysmal loneliness caught the attention of a guardian angel, who then crafted a very special gift for the sad little London boy. As the sun rose on that Christmas morning, Isaac opened his eyes to find a strange wooden box sitting at the foot of his bed. With eyes widened in awe, he stared at the colorful little handcrafted box, wondering who had left it. He was not used to receiving gifts, especially toys. What little toys Isaac did have were ones he found abandoned in the street or washed up in the gutters. Isaac scooted up to the foot of his bed, in front of the mysterious box, and picked it up with both hands. The box was beautifully painted, in colorful styles, with carvings of happy clown faces on the side. There was a tag in the box that simply read, "For Isaac." On the top of the box was in engraved text. Isaac squinted his eyes as he sounded out the words.
Laughing Jack in a box.
Paused.
Laughing Jack in a box?
Isaac had heard of a jack-in-the-box, but never a laughing jack-in-a-box. His mind spun with curiosity as he grasped the box's metal crank. Isaac turned the crank, and the song "Pop Goes the Weasel" chimed in rhythm with the crank's gyrations. As the song came into its climax, Isaac sang along with the final verse. Pop goes the weasel. But nothing happened. Isaac let out a sigh.
It's broken.
He placed the box back down on the edge of the bed and shuffled across his small, dusty room to his dresser, where he changed out of his soiled sleepwear and into his usual tattered clothes. Suddenly, Isaac heard a loud rattling sound coming from the bed behind him. He spun around to witness the wooden box violently shaking, and then without warning, the top of the box swung open, and a parade of colorful smoke and confetti bellowed out. Isaac rubbed his eyes in disbelief of what he had seen. As the smoke cleared, there stood a tall, thin, multicolored clown man, with bright red hair, a swirly rainbow-colored cone nose, and feathery shoulders that sat atop his raggedy and colorful clown outfit. The Technicolor clown spread his arms and excitedly announced,
"Come one, come all, whether big or small, to see the best clown of them all. The one, the only, Laughing Jack-in-a-Box."
Isaac's eyes lit up.
Who are you?
The colorful carny stepped down off the bed with a happy grin and said,
"I'm glad you asked. I am Laughing Jack, your new friend for life. I'm magical, I never get tired of playing, I'm a whiz at the accordion, and I adapt and develop with your own changing personality. In other words, whatever you like, I like.
Isaac looked up at the mysterious clown man.
We're friends.
Laughing Jack looked at the boy while cocking an eyebrow.
Friends? We're best friends. I was specially created to be your not-so-imaginary friend, Isaac.
Isaac's jaw dropped.
You know my name?
Of course I know your name. I know everything about you. So, now that the introductions are out of the way, how would you like to play a game of I Spy?
Isaac grinned from ear to ear.
Really? We can play games? I'd love to.
He paused.
I can't. I have to go downstairs to see Mother for homeschooling and chores.
His smile faded into a look of disappointment. Jack placed his hand on Isaac's shoulder and with a warm smile said,
It's okay. I'll be waiting right here for when you get back.
Isaac's smile returned as he looked up at his newfound friend. Just then he heard his mother's shrill voice calling him from downstairs.
Well, I gotta go. I'll see you after I'm done. Okay, Jack?
He said as he headed towards the door. Jack smiled.
Absolutely, kiddo. Oh, and Isaac.
Isaac looked back at Jack, who gave him a wink and said,
You should wear that smile more often. It suits you.
Isaac grinned happily as he turned and walked out the door. All day, Isaac told his mother about the amazing, colorful clown man who came out of a magical box that appeared on the foot of his bed. His mother, however, did not believe a word of it, and finally, he persuaded his mother to follow him up to his room so that she could behold Laughing Jack for herself. They walked up the stairs, and Isaac swung the door open to his room.
See, Mother? He's right here.
Isaac paused as he scanned the room that contained neither magical, dancing clown man nor mysterious wooden box. Isaac's mother was not amused. She gave Isaac a glare so menacing it made his knees weak and his stomach sick.
But Mother, he was...
Smack! Isaac's mother delivered unto him a swift hand smack across his face. His eyes began to tear up, and his lip began to quiver, as he could feel himself about to break down.
You stupid, insolent child! How dare you lie to me about such childish idiocy? Who would want to be friends with a useless worm such as you? You shall remain in your room for the rest of the evening. You shall receive no dinner. Now, what do you say, you ungrateful wretch?
Isaac managed to swallow the knot in his throat in order to mutter a reply.
Thank you, Ma'am.
His mother glared down at him for a moment before leaving the room in disgust. Isaac kneeled over, burying his face in the side of his bed. Streams of tears ran down his cheeks as he began to weep.
What's wrong, kiddo?
Isaac looked over the edge of the bed where Laughing Jack was now suddenly sitting beside him.
Where were you?
Jack ran his hand through Isaac's hair to comfort him as he softly replied,
I was hiding. I can't let your parents see me, otherwise they won't let us play anymore.
Isaac wiped the tears from his eyes.
Look, kiddo, I'm sorry I had to hide, but I'll make it up to you. Because tonight, we can play games and have tons of fun.
Isaac looked up at his vibrant pal and silently nodded. His little smile began to form in the corner of his mouth. That night, Laughing Jack and Isaac played so many fun games. With a wave of his hand, Jack made all of Isaac's tin soldiers spring to life and march around the room. Isaac was amazed as he watched his toys move around the room on their own, and then Laughing Jack and Isaac told each other spooky ghost stories. Isaac asked Jack if he was a ghost, but Jack explained that he was more of a cosmic entity of sorts. At the end of the night, Jack reached into his pocket and pulled out an assortment of delicious candy. Isaac was in ecstasy when he popped the first colorful treat in his mouth, as it was his first time tasting something so sweet. Isaac had so much fun and laughed so hard that night that things seemed to be finally looking up for Isaac. At least, until the incident that occurred 3 months later. It was pleasantly warm and sunny in London that day, which was a bit of a rarity. So with the help of a certain not-so-imaginary friend, Isaac was able to finish his chores early and was allowed to go outside and play for a bit. Things started simple enough. The duo were back behind their house playing pirates when Isaac spotted the neighbor's cat sneaking into their garden.
Yag! We've got an enemy spy off the starboard bow!
Isaac yelled, captivated by fantasy and imagination.
Yo-ho! I'll get some, Captain Isaac!
Exclaimed his first mate Jack in his best hearty pirate accent. Laughing Jack's arm stretched out across the garden and snatched the unsuspecting feline, who began to struggle quite vigorously.
Don't let him get away, Jackie! I'll make ye walk the plank!
Isaac antagonized. Jack's grip on the cat tightened, and his arms grew and extended like anacondas, wrapping themselves around the wily feline as it struggled for dear life. Jack's arms just kept squeezing the animal, pressing the air out of its lungs. As the once dear household pet's eyes began to bulge out of their sockets, there came a loud snap. Jack quickly released the creature from his grip, and its lifeless, furry husk thudded against the ground. It was a hushed silence as the two observed the cat's now twisted and mangled corpse. The silence was finally broken by an uproarious laughter coming from Isaac.
Wow, I guess cats really don't have 9 lives.
Isaac exclaimed, nearly teary-eyed from laughter.
Yeah, but won't you get in trouble if your mother finds your neighbor's cat dead in her garden?
Oh no, you're right. I'll just throw it back into the neighbor's yard.
Isaac panicked as he grabbed the nearby shovel and scooped up the broken cat cadaver before lobbing it over the fence back into the neighbor's yard. They quickly went back inside and up into Isaac's room. About an hour later, it came. The ear-piercing squawk of Isaac's mother shrieking his name from downstairs. Neither Jack nor Isaac said a word as he crept down the stairs, alone to face whatever horrible fate was coming to him. Jack could hear much yelling from downstairs, but couldn't make out what was being said. After about 30 minutes, a teary-eyed Isaac ascended the stairs back into the room.
Well?
Jack said nervously. Isaac just stared at the ground as he spoke.
I tried to tell her it was you that hurt the cat. She didn't believe me. Said you weren't real.
Jack frowned, knowing this was all his fault. Isaac used his sleeve to wipe away any tears.
I'm being sent off to boarding school. I'm leaving tonight, and you can't come with me.
Laughing Jack's face turned to shock.
What? I can't come? Where will I go?
Isaac said nothing but pointed over to the beautiful, colored box from where his friend had originated.
Back in there? But I won't be able to get out until...
Jack paused. Isaac looked up at his only friend with tears streaming down his face.
Jack, I promise I'll come back for you as soon as I can.
Jack looked at the box, and then back at Isaac.
And I'll be right here waiting for you, kiddo.
Jack smiled as a single tear ran down his cheek. He walked over to the box with a puff of smoke, was sucked back in, unable to be free until once again opened. That night, Isaac was sent off to boarding school. For the first time, Laughing Jack felt what it was like to be lonely. Even when trapped in his box, Jack was able to see things go on around it. So each day, he waited for his friend to return. And each day, the room grew older and dustier. Laughing Jack's one purpose was to be Isaac's best friend for life, and now he waits day after day, month after month, to reunite with his special friend. Isaac's parents still lived in the house, but never came to the upstairs room. The only thing that made their presence known was when Jack would hear their fighting. And still, Jack's life became one of solitude, loneliness, and disappointment. As years went by, Jack's once vibrant colors began to fade to a monochrome blur of pitch-black void and stark white emptiness. Trapped all alone, eternal, and hopeless. 13 years passed until the night Isaac's father came home particularly drunk and got into an argument with his wife as per usual. Things escalated to physical violence once again. However, this time, she didn't get back up. Isaac's father had beaten his wife to a dead, bloody pulp and was sentenced to hang at the gallows the next day. With both his parents dead, this meant that now 20-year-old Isaac inherited the dusty old house, the one that he had spent the earlier half of his childhood in. Laughing Jack was quite surprised when he heard his old friend's footsteps walking up the stairs to the attic room for the first time in 13 years. However, it was not the reunion that Jack had hoped for. Isaac looked different. Not only was he older, but he also seemed to possess this odd, grim look on his face. No longer was he the hopeful and curious young boy Jack first met all those years ago. Jack eagerly awaited Isaac's releasing him from the prison that he had waited in for so many years, but still, next. Isaac had completely forgotten about his old friend. Dismissed as some sort of early